Digimon World Next Order International Edition for Switch and Steam is now out. Additional features for easier playability when porting to Nintendo Switch are included. New Beginner Mode. In the newly added difficulty level, Beginner Mode, the strength of the enemies is reduced, making it easier to play even for those who have never played the Digimon World series before. Addition of a running function. The run function has been added, increasing movement speed by 1.4 times the normal speed, allowing players to run across the vast digital world field and play at a high tempo. Beginner, for those who play Digimon World for the first time. Easy, for those wanting an easy way to enjoy Digimon World. Normal, for experienced Digimon World players. Digimon World Next Order is a semi-open world RPG that allows the player to explore several different areas. These areas are filled with enemy Digimon that will attack the player, and the player's only method of defense is the two Digimon partners that follow them. These Digimon have several stats that can be affected by training in both the training hall and during combat. There is a lot to go over regarding these stats as they affect both the normal battles and Digivolution. There are, in total, 6 different trainable stats in Digimon World. These stats are HP, MP, Strength, Stamina, Wisdom, and Speed. For the most part, these are all pretty straightforward, but there are a few things to note. When it comes to battles, the main stats to consider are HP, MP, Strength, Speed, and Stamina. It is ideal to raise these stats as high as possible to survive. However, Wisdom also should be explored, as it essentially measures how quickly Digimon can learn new moves in battle and how much MP is used in attacks, which is very important in the early game. All of these stats affect more than just fighting, they are also one of the major components of digivolving the partner Digimon. Throughout their life, they can change into many different forms, from baby to mega level. What creature the player's partner will change into depends on several different factors. One of the main factors is the stats mentioned previously, though not always all of them. Essentially, each Digivolution requires a different mix of stats, weight, care, and victories. It also should be mentioned that Digivolving also improves the stats of Digimon. The training hall is one of the most important buildings in the city and the one players will spend the most time in. The player can select an exercise and run the Digimon through it by playing a simple mini-game. However, several different factors can influence training gains. Essentially, there are several potential additions that, if landed on during the mini-game, will increase the amount gained from the training. Certain food selections improve the training of different programs. Finally, players can improve the effectiveness of the machines and the building itself to get better results. However, these improvements require a lot of money or materials that are very difficult to gather early in the game. Players can also gain stat improvements in battle by defeating enemies, with the more powerful enemies giving much better stats. However, these are far less constant than just training in the gym. Something to keep in mind is that the tamer needs to keep an eye on the Digimon's exhaustion. It slowly rises as the player trains and fights, and if it becomes too high, it will exhaust the Digimon and even shorten their lives. This means there is only so much that the player can train in any one day, but a short rest can reset this. One important thing to note is that players improve just as much as their Digimon. This growth comes in the form of tamer points that players gain each time they level up. These points can be used to purchase a few different upgrades, such as increased backpack space or HP gains. However, the most important upgrades are the ones that improve both training and the parameters inherited and improved in both Death and Digivolution. It is also worth improving how long the partner Digimon will live, as this will allow for greater stat improvements over time. Training is one of the main constants in Digimon World, and it is easily the aspect that will take up most players' time. However, it is simple enough to understand, and with a little bit of work, it's easy to get the best results. Once players have this down, they will find that saving the digital world from the machine Digimon attacks is considerably easier. In the end, it's up to the tamer and their partners, and training is the best way to improve the odds. Digimon has long focused on the connection between the digital and human worlds. Digimon World Next Order is no exception, as another cast of young children are sent to the digital world. This time, the focus is on Takuto and Shiki, high schoolers who are dragged into the digital world where they meet several classic Digimon from both the original series and some of the later ones. However, players aren't strictly locked into their existing partners, as they can gain any of over 200 Digimon throughout the game. While it's not the most complex title, it's probably the best game available to fans looking to dive back into the Digimon world. Ruche, voiced by Sora Amamiya, is a mysterious girl who has lost her memory for some reason. However, her character is innocent, and she shows no sense of grief over the loss of her memory. She was found by the main characters when she collapsed in the server desert. She always carries a stuffed animal that looks like a Numemon, and her characteristic way of speaking is to use many unique onomatopoeic words such as Bachikan and Dorododon. Mameo, played by Kenichi Suzumura. A suspicious man shrouded in mystery. A mysterious man with a black knit cap and yellow hoodie. He seems to be somehow involved in the anomalies occurring in the digital world, as he was present at the scene of the cross-construction. A phenomenon in which Digimon suddenly transformed into Magendramon and went on a rampage. He wears a Mamemon patch on his knit cap, which is why he is commonly called Mameo by the main characters. Jigaman is voiced by Bin Shimada, a Digimon who serves as the elder of Flotia. He has a strong sense of responsibility, but a somewhat indifferent personality. He is working to recall the scattered Digimon that were attacked by Magendramon and to restore the town. Taomon is played by Daisuke Namikawa, an old friend of Jigaman. He is quiet and stubborn. He has now parted company with Jigaman and left the city. By someone's will, he realizes that there is a problem in the digital world. The adventure of Digimon World Next Order begins in Flotia, a town that develops along with Digimon. Flotia is a town with few facilities and inhabitants due to Magendramon's attack. As the number of residents increases and the town develops, new areas will be released, the range of places you can go will expand. And new buildings such as restaurants will be constructed and made available for use. The construction of new facilities and the upgrading of existing facilities will make it easier to train stronger Digimon and have more adventures. Under certain conditions, X Digivolution can be activated by using order points. The X evolution can be activated by using OP under certain conditions and allows two partner Digimon to combine and evolve into a more powerful form, making it possible for them to fight. When the battle is over, the X is cancelled and the two Digimons return to their original two Digimons. There are restrictions, such as the fact that it can only be activated once per day, so strategic use is key to finding the right moment to use it. One of the conditions for activation is that both partner Digimon's bond and friendship must be at their maximum value. So the bond that you have nurtured with your Digimon on a daily basis will be the power to reverse the situation. Some parts of the game are repetitive to the point of being a bore, and having to attend to the Digimon's need to sleep, eat, and poop only makes it worse. This mechanic makes the game feel like a strange mix between a virtual pet simulator and an RPG, but the mechanics to take care of your partner's physical needs are clumsily implemented. Each time you send the Digimon to train at the gym, they accrue a bit of fatigue. Eventually, they'll need to take a rest. That can be done in the gym itself, but resting only removes a small amount of fatigue, meaning you have to go through the same dialogue repeatedly if you want to get them back into fighting shape. It is a frustratingly slow process that could have been drastically improved by offering an option to rest until all fatigue is gone. They'll have slightly boosted stats compared to how they started, but it still feels like a massive step backward and adds to the game's repetitive feel. Normal mode was too much of a grind to make our way through the game's story, which is fairly thin as it is. Once we dropped it down to easy, the enemies were more manageable and the game became a much better experience. It honestly feels like easy mode should be how everyone experiences this game. Exploring the world, recruiting new Digimon to your growing town, and seeing which evolutions you can unlock next do offer some fun. But getting to that point is such a slog that it hardly felt worth it. The graphics are a bit dated now, but they still hold up thanks to the cartoony nature of the characters. The soundtrack, however, is fantastic. From the opening theme song to the music that plays as you walk around the world, there are some great tracks there. However, the actual gameplay lets this title down massively, and the decision not to include the original Japanese voice tracks in the Switch version is just baffling. Even on the lower difficulty and using a guide to help you get the best possible team, you'll spend hours doing repetitive training just to get to a point where you can play the game. Digimon World Next Order is an open-world RPG that's too much of a grind to recommend. While the music and graphics have their charm, they're totally overshadowed by the unbalanced difficulty, highly repetitive training mechanics, and some very strange design choices. Unless you're a die-hard Digimon fan with untold patience, you're probably not going to enjoy this game as much as you should. In conclusion, the audio is solid. Combat is simple if a bit too basic. Repetitive training mechanic takes up too much time. Unbalanced difficulty make progressing in the story a slog. It feels like story takes forever to advance, and may only feel manageable on easy mode.